or you want it to be left as this reads?
Well, personally, I don't think we should change our job bidding procedure that we have.
You don't think we should change?
I don't think we should change. I think what we have works. We pay salary to our human resource director, we pay salary to our city manager, we pay salary to our department heads. They're the ones that I feel like need to make the decision, go out and hire the most qualified person for the job, whether that's internal, external, wherever. Find the most qualified person. Seniority is important. It's not the main thing.
So you're
To
saying
me,
that the
seniority
employees,
should be a tiebreaker. All the candidates that you're looking at, everything's equal, experience, qualifications, everything else. One's been here longer than the other, then seniority is the determining factor. That's my personal opinion. I think we've got to hire the most qualified person, regardless of if they're external or internal. I think we've got to hire the most qualified person.
so if you have one from the outside of the utility or city department, as that under this procedure here, the outside the city or the utility departments wouldn't have opportunity to turn in a resume until it fulfills this scenario.
I think everybody should, that's interested, turns in a resume at the same time, internal or external.
So your seniority with your employees, you would be giving them the right to be able to pursue and upgrading jobs?
No, they have a right, but they
Or-
don't, this
Just
proposal.
because they didn't have the qualifications to do this job, don't mean they're not qualifiable.
No, they don't. Yeah.
So,
Seniority is just like anything else. It's like experience, it's like the work record, it's like all the other traits.
right,
This makes seniority the number one thing.
that's within these departments.
So if
That makes
I'm the
number
most
one.
senior, I could just, with this policy, I could probably change jobs about every year if I wanted to.
No, you couldn't,
It says
because you would have to stay on this job
1 year, 12 months.
for 24 months before you'd be able to move and take on another job. 24 months. To be eligible, the employee must have held their current position 24 months and satisfactory performance record.
So every 2 years. And if I wanted to bump around, I could do that.
That's a good possibility.
I think qualifications have a big role in this. And I'm not gonna call no names, but there's some people that work in the city that can't walk into the fire department or police department. Okay, I'm ready to be a policeman. I've worked 30 years for the city. I'm top seniority. There's just no way that they can just walk into that job. If we stipulated that they was qualified for that job, I could understand the seniority. But I think qualifications have an important role in this process.
When I agree, and I think qualifiable, there's no time limit on it.
Right.
There's no, I mean, to be somebody qualifiable, it could take them, what if it took them years to be trained?
Everybody that goes into any type of job, you may or may not have had the qualifications to hold that job.
Right.
But once you get trained by your people that you've got in place, which we have some of the best, I think, in the state of Tennessee. Once they're trained, they'll become one of the best.
But if we're needing
If
that
you're not-
person, if we need that, hey, we needed a fireman right now, we gotta have it because of shift change, everybody's overworked. We need that fireman right now. We can't say, okay, you got 12 months to train, take the test, because that's putting the rest of our firemen in danger because he's job shy on basically to get qualified. Same with the police department. If a person works for the city or street department, they want to put themselves through the academy and make themselves qualified for that job, then they can apply for it.
That's why I left this open for the past 2 months,
Well,
Yeah.
there are
for
no-
people to come and
Nobody talks to it.
and nobody has come forward and said, we need to do this, or we need to add this, we need to take away this. You know, those things haven't been done.
Well, Byron, Chief, y'all
We met with all department heads, Jason and I, and Ty was in there, and we met with all department heads. I explained to them then, at the end of that meeting, if they had any testing they wanted to add, anything they wanted to take away from this, to get back with Jason, and we would discuss it and see where we go from there.
I've talked to a lot of department heads and a lot of employees, and I have yet to find anybody that likes it. I mean, personally. And I appreciate the efforts and what, you know, you're trying to do is keep the employees at the front. I know it's what you're.
This is to give the employees
But I have
the
not,
right to bid on jobs.
I have not had an
And
employee.
be rewarded for their service that they have had throughout their time, whether it be in the city or the utilities. And that's what it's for.
Another portion of it that I don't really agree with is if I bid on it, if I bid on the job and I get it, and I do my 90 days, let's say I stay there and I decide I don't want to do it anymore, I disqualify myself or get disqualified because I can't do it. Job I just came from has already been filled by somebody. I want to go back to my old job, then I bump that person out. If there's not a job for them, then they go out on the street because I can't do my job that I bid on.
Depending on what job it would be, whether it be the city or utilities, they would determine that time. Whether they'd be adding another job on to keep them or lay them off.
But if there's not, I'd be laid off really because you couldn't do your job, you bumped me out of mine, and I'm getting laid off.
Right.
I don't like that. I mean, what kind of private company, I know we're a public.
We're not private.
I know we're not.
We're public and
We can't make the public work under private rules like that. I think that's more for a private business or private industry.
If you had the wording pre-qualified on some of the job, fireman or police, if you're qualified for it, you got 25 years, you can apply for it. You're post-certified.
would it be right for us to take the fire department, police department out of this equation? And not take the rest of it out of the equation?
We talk about qualified. And who's to say you're qualified? I mean, we don't, in very few occasions have we ever given a proficiency test. Somebody said, I can run a backhoe, or I'm the best carpenter, or I can paint a building like nobody else. I got resumes here that tells me that I can. But when we hire somebody, I know of about 3 occasions where we've actually had tests and said, hey, show me, don't tell me, show me. And guess what? Every time, the persons who seem to be the gloomy stars fail the test. First off, I think we need to worry more about how we qualify people and how we are people as far as qualifications are concerned. Because I'm from the old school. Don't tell me, show me. In 5 minutes I can tell you whether you can or you can't.
Well, with this current situation that's proposed here, I could be qualified, I mean, I can do it and I can prove it, but you got more seniority, you get it.
Well, it's a two-edged sword. Qualifications and seniority have to go hand in hand. I don't think you can throw one out for the other.
Right.
I would not want to see someone take a job because he's going to better himself. I want everybody to better themselves. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to understand your limitations. Everyone has to understand their limitations. And it's like I said, if a guy has got seniority, look at him. Let him go before the department head. Let the department head give him a proficiency test. If he cannot pass that proficiency test, then he's not the man for the job, and you know it, Jason. I mean, that's the bottom line. But all too often, we look at the resumes and we say, well, this guy there, he's got a heck of a resume. You know, he can do anything. Let's just hire him. What turns out, we're going to have to hire another one because he really can't do what he said he can do.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we got 4 people trying to do one man's job. When we could have hired the right man to start with, we wouldn't have needed these other 3 guys. And I see it happening, and it's happened to us
That's what I'm
History
talking,
tells us what's gone on, it tells us.
that's what I'm talking about, being qualified to do the job. Not just,
Well, I agree, you don't get to argue that with me.
But you
But I
don't.
do think, and I agree with Tim, seniority should give that guy a right to qualify himself.
You don't know what you've got out
He
there.
should
until
have
you get
that right to
opportunity.
qualify himself. Because you don't know. The interviewer should ask him questions, and I've said it on interviews. If you are smart and you're asking the questions, you can make an individual disqualify themselves. Because you know what questions to ask. And you can trick him up to the point he can disqualify himself. Because I've seen it happen, and I've done it. You know, and that's not about, I mean, if you got 5 people qualifying for whatever job you've got, I don't care what it is, there's some kind of proficiency test you could give them.
yeah.
And it doesn't take a lot of time to do it. And it may be the most qualified individual is the guy you really believe in. But when it's all said and done, if it's not, you'll know who it is. You will know. And I would think that in the case of a lineman, well, get 3 of your linemen, your best linemen, and let them look at this guy. Or get 3 of your best water people or head and water surrogate people, and let them, the working foremen, look at it. Because they're the ones got to work with this individual. They're the ones got to make that decision. Would I feel safe around this guy? You know, is he going to be okay?
Is he trainable?
I think that's some of the things y'all are doing now. I mean, that's exactly what they're
Well-
trying to put in place, but
I hope so. I would hope so.
this does
I
not
would-
allow for that. This basically,
Well, I don't know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that an individual, because he works for the city, couldn't have an opportunity to go to work for the utilities in the past. He couldn't. I know people that's tried, and they, you know, they'll argue him outside. But if he's got seniority and he can qualify, he should have an opportunity. He should, and I agree with that. But if he don't qualify, he doesn't have an opportunity.
This not only gives the city employees the opportunity to go to the utilities, it gives all employees.
To go.
Whether you may work for the recreation department, you may work for the secretarial department, you may work for the gas and water and sewer, you may want to downplay and not do that job no more.
well,
But you want to stay here until you get your retirement.
why
You
can't
may
they-
want to go to the park and rec where I don't have the responsibility that I have in that department.
why can't they do that now?
They can, but they haven't been given that right because that they look at the ones that have the qualifications, not because of seniority.
And I know several that's went from the city to the utilities, I mean, internally. We've had several. It used to, that didn't happen. That's,
But it's not been in all cases,
it's happened quite a bit.
not been that way. So, I think
So
we need
so
to
you
put
would,
this,
you would agree that, say, somebody from Public Works wanted to be a fireman. Brubaker sets up a board, a review board, calls him in and interviews, makes a determination. Yes, we can use him, or no, we can't, or we gotta hire him now, and then wait 6 months or a year to see if he's gonna be a good fireman.
that's why I said, prior to this meeting today,
Yeah,
they need to bring in some kind of testing
yeah.
to possibly do for some of these people, for all the people that have been on the job. And none of that has been brought.
Well, do you wanna consider tabling this and meet with all the department heads and say, if you don't have no input, this is the way it's gonna be?
That, those issues can be, just like this right here, being put into the rules and regulations, can be amended to that policy,
Yeah.
once it's put in place
So
also.
they can add to it.
Yes.
Department heads, is that, what do you think?
Well, I believe this will require 2 readings. It is a form of legislation. This is a personnel rule that will govern me. And this is why I sit back as a neutral in this discussion, because this is the job and the purpose of the legislative branch. And then you are the city council, and you choose the mores and customs and values of your community. If this is in line with mores and customs and values of this community, then I'll certainly be governed by it. Does it remove some of my discretion? Yes. But in many ways, that saves time and makes my job easy. Does this add training, time, and expense? Yes. So there's pluses and minuses on both sides. It's up to you to weigh those pluses and minuses and pass legislation that you feel is proper to govern the policies and procedures of the city. I'll say all that with one caveat. You're talking about crossover provisions inside this new policy between city and utility. It would be up to the board, the OUB board, to pass the same policies that you pass. In other words, if you make changes, those same changes would have to be considered by the OUB board.
We've got most of the department heads here. Maybe by next workshop or next meeting, I encourage you to sit down with him and give him some input. And I know you have to have some input, because this is going to affect all of you.
I've worked on this for months, and
I can verify that.
I would like to get this put into play and get it voted on, whether it's accepted or whether it's turned down.
So you want to put it on the,
I'd like to have it put on the agenda.
let's put it on the agenda. So, for next week.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Some good news, Firehouse Subs. Grant. Coming in.
Yes, very, very good news. Chief Brubaker, those in the audience who don't know Chief Brubaker is the chief of our fire department. Would you like to come forward and share the good news of the grant award to your department?
We received notification last week, we're going to be recipient of the 2019 Firehouse Sub Grant, and Councilman James and Mayor Harris, you probably remember, we received a grant
Yes.
approximately 3 years ago for extrication equipment. So it's a very similar grant. We're going to be getting 6 sets of complete turnout gear, which is a huge, huge help to our budget, $20,000 plus. The other requirement we're going to do is, if you don't remember, we did a little press release at Firehouse Sub. We went up there, took the fire truck up there, took some pictures. That's all they require.
That's
And
great.
they basically buy the equipment and give it to us. We need approval from the body to accept it.
That's why when you go to Firehouse, you round your dollar values up.
Exactly.
That's exactly where that goes. So
But
that's-
it's a very big grant for our department to receive these 6 sets of gear.
I'm sure Councilman James remembers, was that part?
Very true.
years ago?
Yeah, sure.
I think this has all the same ones too.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. That deserves a round of applause. Good
Thank
job.
Okay, out-of-state travel for police department.
Yes, it's a personnel rule passed by this council that attending a conference such as this out of state, especially overnight, requires council approval. And Chief Webb with the police department desires 2 police officers to attend a conference in Georgia. It's across state lines and requires your approval.
Okay. Any questions for Chief Webb on this?
You going down there to look at the newest and greatest, fastest vehicles to catch us all?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think they're getting a cash cabinet, Chief. Let them answer questions all the way down and see how they come out.
Well, all of the vehicle manufacturers will be represented. They'll have all the vehicles. They'll be outfitted with the latest equipment, and the officers get out and test it out. So,
All right.
There's a lot of classroom training on this too.
oh yeah, they have meetings. Each one of the individual manufacturers will be in the room with all of the users group. I've been to a couple of these before in the past. The last one I went to was in St. Louis, and this was closed this year. That's one of the reasons why I thought I should send a couple of the sergeants down there, because I like to get input from them about what we're doing, and so I think it'd be good for them.
Great. So that'll be coming up, we have to vote on that Monday. Okay, any other questions about the out-of-state travel? Next item is the vehicle replacement program for the police department.
Yes, Chief Webb, this item came very late in the week, and meeting added to the workshop, and I wasn't able to be briefed on it. Can you brief the council on it?
Certainly, it's just where we're upgrading the 2018 F-150 to a 2019 F-150.
Thanks, so.
And, we've got 2 in the police department, but we do that on an annual basis.
So they're just an upcharge, which looks like $695.
Yeah, well, the last word's not been had on that.
Okay, still dealing, willing to
You know
deal.
how these car salesmen are.
Yeah, you can't trust them. All right, fiscal year 2018-2019 budget amendments. So this is a pretty normal procedure, I think, that happens.
This is end of the fiscal year, tradition, to shore up the budget, move some money around the different line items, based on what's happened, during the fiscal year that was unplanned for. Ms. Stephanie Pacone's, last year,
Yeah, it's gonna be
before she retired.
Oh, man. We'll have to have a moment of silence or something. Any questions about see the budget amendments are attached, any questions about?
The majority are specific to specific employee experiences, whether it be long hospital stays, changes in family
Right.
status.
It's pretty clear. Any questions about it?
Is the sanitation, the $9,000 increase, is that for the dumpster?
It's not related to equipment, this is related to how we fund between streets and sanitation. This is basically where the work was performed, and we're just moving money from one side to the other to account for time spent.
Yeah. Just really moving accounts.
Yes.
Where did this come from?
Stephanie?
The general fund,
General.
the transfer from the general fund. It's coming from the street department, actually.
They spent more time in sanitation than they did.
Over budgeted in the street department, under budgeted in sanitation.
Just what was budgeted, what they thought at the beginning. Any other questions about the budget amendments? Okay, last item is other. Couple of things I have, just if anybody wants to buy a ticket to Banking on Education, Loudon County Education Foundation, I have those here. It's a raffle, $20 tickets, so all the money goes back into the schools. And also, we've been having census meetings, we're supposed to have one today, but it got canceled. But if you know of anybody that like to have a part-time job, census taker, they pay $13.50 an hour. You get supplement income for someone that, might be interested. So I've got the information on that if anybody's interested. Councilmember Bibbins, you have anything else?
I do. I don't know if anybody else is going to bring it up or not, I'm going to. This is Ms. Buchanan's last meeting that she'll be attending. So she's going to be retiring on us. Hope she's enjoyed it. I just want to thank you for your time and your service and everything you've done and all of your knowledge that you've brought here. When she leaves, a wealth of knowledge walks out the door.
I'm a phone call away.
She's a phone call away, she says. But, yeah, that's
She's not
going
leaving
to,
Loudon County.
that's going to depend on which beach she's at for the week, right? No, I thank you for everything that you've done, and I appreciate it all. You've gotten us to where we are today, and that's something to say. You grew up here. You grew up this place.
I feel like I've been here about
Oh, I'm sure she-
42 years.
Well, that is your whole life.
The majority of it, for sure.
Well, thank you. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you. Councilmember Brewster. Councilmember Dixon.
Thanks, Stephanie. We appreciate you. And like I said, you're a phone call away. I'm sure they'll use that. Thank you.
Councilmember James, you have anything?
I too would like to thank you, Stephanie, for your undue gratitude and your diligence to your job. You have proved to everybody that you can be the best at what you do, because you have been. And we appreciate it. I want you to know that. The Loudon appreciates having somebody like you. And we won't soon forget you, I guarantee you. And the other thing I'd like to say, I'd like to thank our electric department about last Friday week ago, when everybody knows it was in the dark for about 7 hours. And we had some guys go out, some of our people, and took on a job. Didn't have the equipment, we borrowed the equipment, but we got the job done. And it proves that what I said a long time ago, given the opportunity, we got people that can do anything. You just got to give the opportunity. And they certainly proved it Friday night a week ago. Because what they done was not an easy task, by no means for anybody. I just want to thank them.
How was it, Bourbon? talking to Bill Watkins about the job they had to do was.
It was dangerous and it was very difficult.
LCUB really has helped us out too as well.
I hope we're taking measures to have one of those trucks soon. That's what I'm hearing. So it's not something that we couldn't use, because we proved we could use it if we had it.
Manager Ross, you have anything?
Yes, in the coming weeks, we'll properly send off Stephanie Putcomen on the 24th. We're having a going away party. And at your regular meeting, where you have the meeting where the votes count, we'll put forward Nicole Curtis as a replacement for your confirmation vote.
Okay. Just one last thing, I'll be absent at the meeting next week. I'll be leading a mission trip in Virginia. Vice Mayor Dixon will run the meeting Monday night. So, okay, that's all. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.